Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, I welcome you to another episode of The Mix. And as always, I'm your host, Nes Nyorenda. As the name of the podcast suggests, The Mix. So today we are going to be talking about the topic of inflation. Our guest today is Mr. Samuel Jisunka. So if you want to know more, stay tuned. What is the meaning of inflation?
Okay, so in simpler terms, inflation simply refers to the rate of increase in prices over a period of time. As time goes by, prices of things just increasing. Yeah. So that's what refers to as inflation.
What are the primary drivers of inflation in Malawi?
Okay, so taking the Malawian landscape as of now, you can see there may be a lot of them, but I can give you maybe three.
Okay.
Let's talk about prices of food, fuel costs, and currency depreciation. So let's start with currency depreciation. I don't know if you know currency depreciation, but it's when the value of the currency
goes down.
Yes,
I know.
The Kwacha's value right now, it's very, very down there.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, let's go to the fuel costs. In Malawi, we don't produce fuel.
Yeah, true.
We import fuel from other countries. I don't know if South Arabia. When the global oil price is increasing, that means the price of us for Malawians to import oil will also be high.
Yeah.
So for you to import things from outside, you need foreign currency.
Yeah, true.
And if your kwacha is lower in value, you can't say you have enough foreign currency for you to import goods from outside. So that's where the inflation comes in. I've mentioned two, right?
Yeah, you've mentioned two.
So the last one is food prices. Okay, to easily explain food prices, let's talk about it in this way. Agriculture. In Malawi, the common source of food is agriculture.
Yeah, true.
We farm our own food. We produce food products from our own products from the farm.
Yeah.
So with climate change, okay, to answer that question, considering Malawi's economic history, most of Malawi's economy relies on agriculture for us to gain foreign currency. Yeah. We produce products locally, especially mainly our main export in Malawi is tobacco. We produce tobacco in Malawi and then we sell it to outside countries. But then you should consider this: we don't sell processed tobacco, we sell raw tobacco. We do have Nyasa, manufacturing company. They process tobacco and then they make cigarettes. Yeah. But then the quantity of the cigarettes compared to the exports of raw tobacco that goes outside the country is very different. The cigarettes that are produced here in Malawi are very low. So this factor, I can say it contributes to inflation in this way. Consider this: we're exporting raw tobacco to outside countries. Maybe, for example, the USA. Let's just take that as an example. Yeah. And then factories in USA are using that raw tobacco to produce cigarettes. And then they are getting those cigarettes that they have produced using our raw produced tobacco in order to make the cigarettes. And then they are importing them here in Malawi. So let's just say maybe in Malawi we were selling the raw tobacco maybe for 1,000 kwacha per kg. then the produced cigarettes that those factories in the outside countries that they're importing here in Malawi, let's just say the price range is maybe 3,000 per kg. So you see the difference there.
Yeah.
It's like we're not making much money. It's like we're not valuing our own products. Yeah. If maybe we could have considered the fact to maybe have our own factories, it's just being innovative.
Yeah.
What if we stopped exporting raw products? What if we started exporting produced products? Yeah, because considering the history of Malawi, most of the products that we export are raw, not produced. Yeah. So
what role do external factors like global economic trends, climate change play in Malawi's inflation?
Okay, so let me start with climate change. Changes in climate tend to impact agriculture. Climate change is something that you can control.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, it's mother nature disasters, right? You can control climate change. So in Malawi, considering the fact that we mostly rely on agriculture, so climate change changes the pattern of the way produce is produced. Yeah, the way produce is produced. Yeah. If normally rain was coming in maybe November, yeah, now it happens December, no rain starting in January. So a lot of people who rely on rain, that means things won't work for them like the way they used to work for them way in before climate changed. So disruption in climate is a main factor. Yeah, you can control climate change. So climate change tends to lead to food insecurities. Yeah, since people who relied on agriculture in order for them to make their own food, that means food will be available to them at a later date, not the day that they planned for them to gain the food. So yeah, and also it leads to increase in prices of food. Now let me explain in this way. Since climate has changed and then people are failing to produce their own food, maybe they're failing to have the food at the time that they plan to have the food, what do they do now? So they need to go and buy food. So people who sell the food now will be like, oh, people don't have food right now. What can we do to make profits? Let's increase the price. So people have no other choice but to go and buy the expensive food. They don't have any other choice. What are they gonna do? They need the food to survive. So globally, things tend to change price. Yeah. Let's just say if countries who have much influence in the whole world, I know you know these, there are countries who have much superpowers. Yeah, superpower countries like the USA, China, Russia, Germany, those countries. If they decide that, okay, oil prices are gonna change, we're gonna increase the prices maybe by 2%. Countries who are developing countries can't say anything. Yeah, like Malawi. Yeah, we just accept. Oh, yeah. So things like these, they tend to affect us. You see, because now it's like the money that you set aside for you to purchase things from outside countries. Yeah, maybe it was 100,000, and then all of a sudden, 10%. Okay, 10% of 100,000 is 10,000. So you set aside 100,000 for you to acquire commodities, maybe for your business, for your what. Yeah. So now the price for you to acquire those products is now 110,000, but you set aside 100,000. It's either you have the money stashed somewhere for you to back up your money that you set aside, or you need to borrow money elsewhere. So these things, they tend to affect us. So that was just a simpler scale, but these things are happening at a larger scale. We're talking about millions of kwachas. Yeah. Okay, and also maybe changes in supply chain. I don't know if you know what the supply chain is.
No.
Okay, so it's like this. Oil. Yeah, oil maybe that is produced in Saudi Arabia for it to reach here. There's a route, a specific route that it follows. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So simply how goods are transferred
From one place to
from one
another.
place to another.
Okay.
Yeah, how it's distributed, where the stops are, you consider all those factors. So changes in prices in different countries, since those products are passing through different countries. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You find in this country there are different rates. You find in this country there are different rates. All those rates add up, so the prices tend to increase. So yeah.
So you have included supply chain as one
Yeah.
of the factors, one of the external factors.
Of global. Nah, it should be under global trends.
Oh, it's under.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
How does monetary policy impact inflation in Malawi?
The best way I can explain this is the Reserve Bank of Malawi. The Reserve Bank of Malawi uses interest rates to control inflation. So I want you to understand me on this. Okay, banks. This is how banks make profits. I don't know if you knew, but this is how banks make profits. Banks usually don't have money.
Yeah.
The money that you deposit, the money that you withdraw, is just circulating within
the people.
ourselves. Yes,
Wow.
within the people. Banks usually don't have money. So how do banks make money? This is how banks make money.
Yeah.
I go to the bank maybe with 200k, I deposit in my personal account.
Yeah.
The bank is going to take that money, and then, okay, before reaching that junction,
Yeah.
somebody else goes to the bank. He wants a loan, maybe of 100k.
Yeah.
The bank is going to take my 200k
Yeah.
and then remove 100k from my account and then give it to the person under these conditions. Okay, we're giving you this money, but how long are you gonna spend for you to return the 100,000?
Yeah.
3 months. Okay, so this is what you're going to do. Within these 3 months, the first month you're gonna pay this amount, but with interest of maybe 15%. You see?
Yeah.
The next month, which is the second month, you're
Yeah.
gonna also pay this amount with interest 15%. And the last month you're also going to pay the same amount with
15%.
yeah. So it's that's how banks make money.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So the 100,000 that he has borrowed is called the principal. You see? So they add an interest to that money after splitting it, maybe in the duration that you're saying you're gonna return the money.
Yeah.
Let's say in this example that I'm using, 3 months. So they're gonna split the 100,000 in 3 months, and then in the 3 months they're also going to add the 15%,
15%. Yeah.
in the amounts that you are paying within those 3 months. In the first month, maybe you're paying 40,000. They are going to add a 15% of the 100,000 to the 40,000.
Oh.
So it's like 15% to 100,000, 15,000, 15,000 plus 40,000, 55,000. You see?
Yeah.
I just want you to understand.
That's scamming people.
No, it's not scamming people. You're borrowing money. You didn't have money. You didn't have money. You were desperate. You wanted the money to use it for your own benefits. You didn't have the money. That's the price that you're paying. So the bank is going to take that 45,000 as a profit to them. You see? And then this is what they do. I'm pretty sure you've heard of this. Most banks say that when you leave your money in your account, maybe for a certain period of time, they add interest to your money. I don't know if you've heard about this, but most banks do that. They say, what do they call those? Savings accounts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, mostly those accounts are used for you to deposit the money, and then that money should stay there for a long period of time, maybe a year, 2 years,
5
so
years.
As the time goes by, the bank adds interest to your money.
Oh.
And then you withdraw your money plus the interest.
The interest.
Usually that's how banks make money. Okay, so here is how the Reserve Bank controls inflation. Since prices of goods have increased, one will need more money in order for them to increase their buying power. Yeah, okay. At first, you were spending 2,000 to buy maybe a packet of sugar. Now, sugar is, let's just say, for example, it's 3,000, but you usually had 2,000. You will need more money for you to buy more
Sugar,
goods.
yeah.
Sugar, that is. And then, this is how Reserve Bank of Malawi controls inflation. So, the Reserve Bank of Malawi, you remember the interest I was talking about, right?
Yeah, the interest rate.
So, the Reserve Bank of Malawi puts high rates of interest on loans so that people should be afraid to take loans. You see?
Don't they encourage loans?
No, okay. They're trying to control the inflation.
Yeah.
You see, inflation, people are spending more money to buy the same products that they were buying
On a
less the
cheaper
amount.
price, yeah.
So how will people buy lower price? But now they are buying the same products at a higher price.
Yeah.
So to control this, it will sound in a bad way, but to control this, the Reserve Bank of Malawi, now see, people want to have more money in their pockets.
Yeah.
When I say people, don't take it at a lower level, but consider it at a higher level. Maybe companies,
Yeah.
they will need more money for them to suffice their needs. So what do? They will need to go and acquire loans from banks. So the Reserve Bank of Malawi issues a law to set interests at a higher rate. Maybe at first the interest for borrowing maybe 100 million was at 15%. Now they'll say, for you to acquire this 100 million loan, you pay an interest of 30%. You see? So these people will tend to be afraid, 30% is just too much.
Yeah, that's too much.
Let's just avoid it. So that's where other problems come in. Increasing in interest rates, that's the policy that's being issued here. You see? That's the policy that is mostly is implemented by the Reserve Bank of Malawi in order to control inflation.
What are the effects of inflation on low-income households and vulnerable populations?
Okay, low-income households, generally don't have that much income.
Yeah.
So when inflation hits, these local households that are low-income households are forced to increase their spending power. You understand? It's like they're now increasing the money that they spent in order to acquire goods, which are essentials in this case, like food, shelter. Yeah. So debt simply refers to increased poverty. You're not.
How does inflation influence investment, economic growth, and job creation?
Okay, so high inflation discourages people to invest. Okay. Let me answer this in simpler terms. High inflation creates uncertainty. People become uncertain whether if they invest in something they will make profits. Because if a country is experiencing high inflation rates, that means that country, for it to be stable economically, it's not something that is simple. That means inflation will keep on increasing. So people become hesitant in order for them to invest in something, since they know that the probability of making high profits is very low compared to when the inflation is not that high.
Yeah.
So this discourages investment in a lot of things. Can agriculture, talk about production. Yeah. So this can affect the economic growth of a company or the country as a whole, affecting job creation, since most companies are not growing. If a company is growing, that means the rate of job creation will also be high. But if a company is not growing, that means job creation won't grow. that much. So businesses tend to delay in terms of expansion. Or what can I say? Yeah, in terms of expansion.
Malawi as a country, we rely on agriculture, right? So how does inflation affect agricultural production and food security in Malawi?
Okay, so how? Basically, inflation affects agriculture like this. High inflation leads to higher costs for agricultural inputs. Talk about fertilizer, uh, farming tools, things like that. So this affects production levels. You see, it's like the inputs that you have used for your production, agricultural production, are lower since you acquired less with the same amount due to the inflation.
Shouldn't it be the inputs are higher and the outputs are lower?
No, you've acquired less the inputs
Yeah.
at the same amount due to the inflation. It's like
Now you're talking about inflation. Okay,
yes,
I
yes,
get it.
yes.
I get it. I get
It's
it.
like the inflation has made you to acquire less
Less
inputs due to the
Okay.
high prices of the inputs.
Okay.
Yeah. This thing.
Measures can the government implement to curb inflation?
Okay, so one example of unnecessary public expenditure in Malawi is the maintenance and operation of underutilized or non-functional public buildings and facilities. For instance, many government talk about two factors: improving tax collection and controlling public expenditure. So let me start off with the second point, which is controlling public expenditure. Okay, so sometimes the government tends to pump in money in unnecessary things, like, for example, they're constructing public toilets somewhere.
Yeah.
And then you just hear the report at the end of the project. We used 20 million to construct these toilets. You look at the toilets and you'll be like, what? 20 million has been used to construct this facility. So controlling things like that can help curb inflation, because the government is using more money to be used in unnecessary things. If the government uses money to maybe focus on other important factors, like maybe focusing on how they can stabilize the economy of the country, or how they can make the economy of the country be better, maybe, for example, industrializing Malawi, if maybe money is pumped in things like that to ensure more industries are built in Malawi for us to produce products which we can export to other countries. Yeah. It can help us to gain more foreign currency. So it can also boost the value of our kwacha. Let's talk about tax collection. Government acquires money through tax collection. You know this, right? Yeah. But sometimes people, businesses, or companies don't pay taxes. They evade taxes. If government was to maybe improve on the measures of how they control the tax collection, maybe this can help boost, or maybe this can avoid or curb inflation, because the government is making more money from collecting tax from its local people, you see, or from exports, no, rather imports, because when you're importing things from outside, those who are bringing the goods here, the government charges tax on them. Yeah. But it happens that people at the borders avoid that type of tax. So if the government was to maybe ensure that they're putting in measures to ensure that people are avoiding tax avoidance, the government will reduce its need to borrow money, because when inflation has hit, the government is forced to borrow money from outside, you see, to stabilize the economy. I don't know if
what innovations or technologies can help mitigate inflation effects.
So let's just talk about what we as Malawians are best at, agriculture.
Yeah.
So agricultural technologies and innovations such as improved seeds, or rather improved seed varieties, efficient irrigation systems, these things can help us in the long run. You see, uh, how is this so? We talked about climate change, right?
Yeah, we did.
Previously.
Yeah.
This tends to affect the production cycle in agriculture.
Yeah.
It's like now you are expecting results or production at a later date than what you planned for. Maybe 3 months ahead or 2 months ahead, you expected harvest in July. Now you're expecting harvest in September. Yeah, so when you invest in innovations like uh, improved seed varieties,
Yeah.
irrigation, it's like you won't rely that much on climate, rather rain. You won't rely on that. Maybe the improved seeds don't need that much of water. When the rain has poured now, they'll survive for the next 3 weeks. You still need to provide moisture or water to them, but they'll still
Not as
survive.
much.
Yeah. Talking about irrigation, irrigation farming helps farmers farm throughout the year. You can harvest large tons of maize through irrigation farming. You see, you can even harvest twice a year.
Okay. How can Malawi achieve sustainable economic growth and stability?
Okay. For Malawi as a country to achieve economic growth and stability, we can talk about focusing on diversifying the economy. Instead of only relying on agriculture, we can rely on something else. Because when we're talking about the Malawian economy, mostly its main factor that helps Malawi to survive as a country is agriculture.
Yeah.
Government can focus on maybe pumping in money on other factors like what? Tourism, infrastructure. Yeah, these things can help Malawi as a country to grow. We're talking about industrializing Malawi. Since most of the agricultural products that Malawi export are raw products, what if we as a country focus on building industries, factories in order to convert, to convert these raw products into finished products. These finished products have a higher value compared to the raw products. So factors like this can help achieve a sustainable growth for the Malawian economy.
Okay, what policy changes would you recommend to address inflation?
Let's talk about two things. Strengthening agricultural policies.
Yeah.
And let's talk about the Reserve Bank. Improving monetary policies. They're already there, but they can be improved. How? Malawi as a country can ensure that there is effective communication from the Reserve Bank of Malawi. The Reserve Bank of Malawi needs to be transparent. Mostly, the bank just says, we are issuing a third increase in interest on loans that an individual or a company can get. You see, instead of them focusing on why they're increasing the rates, they should be transparent as to why they're doing that. People will be able to trust what the bank is trying to do. Strengthening agricultural policies. How, or rather, what type of agricultural policies? Farmers should be encouraged to focus on productivity. That is, they should be encouraged to maybe grow crops that are highly productive. Yeah. This can help to increase the amount of products that we as a country are producing.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's it for today's episode. I hope you have come to know better what inflation is and how it affects the economy of Malawi. Until next time, I was your host, Ness Nurenda.